liberties and our Christian rights, and you won't have to travel to D.C. or even dress up to get it. Find out more and sign up at afa.net/activism.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. Many government programs and agencies are closing until they get more funding after a government shutdown began at midnight. Griff Jenkins reports from Capitol Hill.
It's the first government shutdown in nearly 7 years after Senate Republicans and Democrats failed to pass that government funding bill. Now, hundreds of thousands of government employees will be furloughed, potentially some even let go. The vote was 55 to 45, falling short of the 60 votes needed to pass. 3 Democrats voted with Republicans, John Fetterman, Catherine Cortez Masto, and Independent Angus King, who caucuses with Democrats. 1 Republican voted no. That was Rand Paul. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer defending the Democrats' vote to extend Affordable Care Act tax credits. But Speaker Mike Johnson blasted Democrats over their position.
Florida Senator Rick Scott sits on the Budget Committee. He says it would be a different story if members of Congress had to go without pay.
Maybe we would focus on get our budgets done when we're supposed to. I mean, I've been up here 6.5 years. We don't pass budgets up here. I mean, this doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, we ought to pass a budget. We ought to work with the House to get our budgets done. They're supposed to be done by September 30. I'm a business guy. I always pass budgets. And by the way, if you didn't do your job in business, you didn't get paid. You don't show up and do your job, you don't get paid. Why are we getting paid? We shouldn't get paid if we don't do our job. We need to figure out how to work together to get our budgets done. It's as simple as that.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth addressed top military leaders in Quantico, Virginia yesterday to let them know woke is gone from the military. The secretary saying the military trains soldiers to fight, not to worry about people's feelings.
The era of politically correct, overly sensitive, don't hurt anyone's feelings leadership ends right now. For too long, we've promoted too many uniformed leaders for the wrong reasons, based on their race, based on gender quotas, based on historic so-called firsts. We lost our way. We became the woke department, but not anymore.
Live Action News is disappointed in New York's district attorney. Alvin Bragg dropped the charges against a woman who, on camera, punched a live action reporter doing a street interview about abortion. The injured reporter is Savannah Craven Antow. Her colleague, Christina Bennett, made these comments on Washington Watch.
Violence is never the answer, and it really shows people this dropping of the charges shows people that you can commit an act of violence and get away with it.
Roblox is facing several lawsuits, claiming the platform does little to protect children from sexual predators. Bronson Woodruff has more.
Roblox is an online video game platform that allows users to create experiences, explore and play in the environments others have created, and socialize with other random players from around the world. One lawsuit comes from a family in New Jersey where it's reported a mother says her daughter, who was 11 when it started, was sexually exploited. ABC 6 quotes the family's attorney, Sarah Beller, of saying the alleged abuse began on Roblox and carried over to the social platform Discord, where graphic messages and sexual images were shared. Another lawsuit out of California is against both Roblox and Discord. It says a teenage boy died by suicide after getting abused while playing Roblox by a 37-year-old man pretending to be a child. Kathy Haddam is Director of Communications for Enough is Enough.
Roblox has over 70 million daily active users worldwide. And it's so heavily marketed towards children. Their largest demographic is comprised of children ages 12 and under.
Haddam pointed out these user-created experiences on Roblox can be explicit themselves.
Roblox can contain sexually explicit themes, including rape themes, inappropriate content like sex parties. They even had a report that was released, I believe, in this last year, where they uncovered chat rooms where they were used to trade child sexual abuse material.
Haddam explained the way Roblox is currently set up is with safety restrictions automatically turned off, with parents having to take the initiative to go in and turn them all on. Further, she said that Roblox has not required age verification for adults. I'm Bronson Woodruff.
U.S. futures sank and world shares were mixed after the U.S. government shutdown began today. More news available online at afn.net and on the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Pugh.
Every day, AFA offers biblical insight on issues that others aren't willing to touch in the hopes that you'll become a world changer. That's why we're offering an in-depth Worldview training course called Activate. 13 different professors teaching 18 sessions, all available online, including a printed workbook to help you apply what you've learned and 1-year access to AFA streaming content to give you even more resources. Find out more about Activate and sign up today at activate.afa.net.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Thanks for listening to AFR. Today's Wednesday. Pumpkin Spice Month is here, people.
You can just smell it through the radio.
You can. October the 1st, 2025. I'm Tim Wildman with Ed Vitagliano. Good morning. Welcome back, Brother Ed.
I am back with my new bionic eyes.
Let me welcome Wesley Wildman. He was here with us yesterday. Fred Jackson. Good morning, Brother Fred.
Good day.
But today we welcome back our brother to the land of the seeing.
Yes, I've just come back off cataract surgery. Had one eye done last week, one eye done the beginning of this week. And, man, I'm just...
How many fingers am I holding up?
You're holding up, too.
That's what I'm talking about.
I can even see the fingernails. It really is
clearly.
It's pretty amazing.
Okay, before this surgery, you were using Coke bottles.
Yes.
Glasses is what I call them.
Yes.
And you were bringing that thing, anything you read. I'm not making fun.
No, yeah, you are.
You're just
okay.
I'm just
Coke bottle glasses. But to your point, I've had Coke bottle glasses since I was like in the 7th grade. Pretty bad eyesight.
But now it's a new world.
It is a new world. No glasses, no contacts.
Now there's no going back. So are you happy with it?
Yes, I am happy with it. And
it's like so it's not like the older gentleman who gets his hearing aids and then wishes he didn't have them.
No. Okay. Yeah, you can't just exchange them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I can't go back and say I want my old ones back because they're in the garbage can. But anyway, my wife had to go with me, obviously, because they do give you anesthesia and that kind of thing, and you need someone to drive you home. But so this is Monday, and we're waiting in the waiting area for them to call me back. And I leaned over to my wife. And I said, "There's nothing but old people here." And she said, "Well, welcome to the club, old man." So it is weird. You just don't think of yourself as being a part of this crowd. I was looking around.
I know.
But here I was having cataract surgery.
I think I've mentioned this before, but of course I'm 62 now.
Yeah.
I talked to a 78 or a 79-year-old guy. He called me a kid the other day, which I took that as a compliment.
Yes.
But anyway, so this is about a few months ago. Allison, my wife, we were driving down the road by our house going into town. And as we were driving down the road, there was it's a 2-lane, little country paved road. And so there was this, I noticed on the right side, there was this fella walking towards, it looked like he was out like exercising or whatever, but he was just barely off the side of the road. I'm talking about 3 feet off the road. And I said to Allison, that old man needs to get more off the road. He's going to get hit.
Yeah.
So, we got up to the old man, and I said, Allison said, "That's Andy Nash." Childhood friend of mine. We grew up together.
Man.
And I was thinking to myself, that's the old man I'm talking about is
your age.
Is my buddy who went to elementary school with. Yeah,
and now the whole world knows that you called Andy Nash an old fella.
Yeah, I know. Well, it is. What's the old expression? It is what it is. Right? You are what you are. All right. So thank you for joining us, everybody, on the program today. A lot to talk about. Tim, Ed, Wesley, and Fred. And Fred, what's our first news story?
Well, the great government shutdown, kind of, has begun at 12:01 this morning, Eastern Time, because Republicans and Democrats could not come to an agreement on a continuing resolution.
Disappointing.
Yeah, disappointing.
Yeah.
Anyway, there was a vote in the Senate. The Senate didn't get the 60 votes required, and so we are into officially a government shutdown. However, there are many exceptions.
Okay.
So if you're getting Social Security, you'll still get your Social Security. Medicare is still operating. It's interesting, like the IRS, it continues to operate. TSA continues to operate, although some of the air traffic controllers aren't getting paid. But because they're in a category called essential, they are still there. That's kind of scary. You're required to show up for work, but we're not going to pay you. There are going to be cutbacks in national parks and that kind of thing. In the first few weeks, we probably won't notice a big change. But as people are officially furloughed, I mentioned the IRS. Apparently some government departments have a kitty where they have money set aside for these kinds of things, and so they'll continue to operate for a couple of weeks. The last government shutdown, 2018, I think it lasted 35 days, something like that. In this particular shutdown, the Republicans are blaming the Democrats, saying the Democrats want to continue a Biden-era policy that saw taxpayers' dollars go towards illegal immigrants for health care. All right? So that is a big issue. Vice President J.D. Vance was on Fox and Friends this morning to talk a little bit about that, cut number 13.
This is a Democrat talking point. They say we're not actually trying to give health care benefits to illegal aliens, and here's why it's not true. There are two Biden-era programs that explicitly gave the taxpayer health care money to illegal aliens that we turned off when President Trump took over in January. Program number one is there's a lot of emergency health care at hospitals that are provided to illegal aliens. That was funded by the federal government. We turned off that funding because, of course, we want American citizens to benefit from those hospital services, not to be taxed and then to have those hospital services go to illegal aliens. The second of which is the Biden administration gave mass parole to millions upon millions of illegal aliens, and then they simultaneously made those parolees eligible for health care benefits funded by taxpayers.
All right. So as J.D. Vance says, one of the big issues is the Democrats want to turn that on again. So they got to work through that. One of the other interesting aspects of this, Trump being Donald Trump, his team has put together a montage of Democrats who in the past have said it is a shame, it is terrible to shut down the government. They've put all this together in a montage, a video montage, and they're actually playing it outside the office of House Speaker Mike Johnson.
Now, this is Democrats saying it when they blamed Republicans for doing the shutting down.
Yes. So, yeah, this is a little trip down memory lane when Democrats were saying how terrible it would be to shut down the government. Cut number 12.
It is not normal to shut down the government when we don't get what we want.
If the government shuts down, it will be average Americans who suffer most. A government shutdown means seniors who rely on Social Security could be thrown into chaos.
Families will be hurt. Farmers will be hurt.
It's the service members who will work without a paycheck. It's the firefighters who will be furloughed.
This shutdown, you know who's going to feel the pain? You know who it hurts? You. Everyday people and the most vulnerable. Seniors, veterans, working families, hungry kids, y'all.
All right, there you have it. And unless you're concerned about your member of Congress not being paid during this period, just rest easy. Senator Rick Scott, don't worry about it. They're still going to get a paycheck. Cut number 5.
Maybe we would focus on get our budgets done when we're supposed to. I mean, I've been up here 6.5 years. We don't pass budgets up here. I mean, this doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, we ought to pass a budget. We ought to work with the House to get our budgets done. They're supposed to be done by September 30. I'm a business guy. I always pass budgets. And by the way, if you didn't do your job in business, you didn't get paid. You don't show up and do your job, you don't get paid. Why are we getting paid? We shouldn't get paid if we don't do our job. We need to figure out how to work together to get our budgets done. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I'd like to see a vote in Congress on that. We don't get paid if we shut down.
There's a lot here. That second part there with Rick Scott, Senator Rick Scott, that's a whole separate issue. The fact that our government, the federal government, no longer passes budgets. They just do these continuing resolutions, et cetera, et cetera. Let me set that aside for just a second. The problem here with illegal immigrants and emergency care, okay, that they are getting paid, I guess, through the Affordable Care Act, all right, with government funds. Here's the problem. Most people, if you ask them, I would say, I would answer yes, that if there's a couple who's here illegally and their kid gets, injured, there's a car accident, obviously I would say you take them to the emergency room. You don't let this kid bleed on the side of the road and say, well, tough luck, you should be here legally. Okay, most people would say, obviously, you got to take care of that kid. But most Americans who've been to the emergency room anytime in the last couple of years, well, since 2020 with the Biden administration, you understand that people who are here illegally use the emergency room as their primary care physician. That's why when President Trump locked down the border and started deporting people, there were people all over the country saying there's nobody in the emergency room waiting area. It's emptied out. And that is a separate problem that has resulted from the fact that we don't know who's here, where they are, and so these things are distinct. An honest injury, yes, you take care of them whether they're here illegally or not. To me, that's a Christian thing to do. But because these people were promised free health care by Joe Biden, they're using it usually through the emergency room of your local hospital, bringing some of these hospitals to the point of bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I tried to get myself upset because I just had surgery.
The government shutdown, federal government shutdown, I mean, it doesn't get my juices flowing at all. I'm just, as far as conversation wise.
Yeah.
Anybody else here? You had your 2 cents worth there.
I always have 2 cents tossed into the
Listen, it is important, but they'll get it worked out. They always do. They'll get it worked out in the next few days. And then we'll be back to normal. I think the important point here is Rick Scott, what he said there, the senator from Florida. Yeah. The federal government doesn't do budgets. And but that's been we have a divided government. It's 50% Republican, 50% Democrat. So you can't really, you have a Democrat president and you have a Republican president. They can't really ever get together on process.
The story's memory lane for me. The hypocrisy that the Democrats said just a couple years back.
What we were quoted there?
That's the story for me personally, just to remind them that they lied and that the Democrats are shutting down the government right now.
Right. So anyway.
A couple of Democrat senators have already caved. Senators Catherine Cortez Masto of Nevada and John Fetterman. That doesn't surprise me.
I don't know how I would classify that as caving. Would you, Fred? I think they agreed with the Republicans. They caved on their Democrat colleagues, I guess you could say. Right?
Well, they didn't accept the pressure from Chuck Schumer.
Yeah, initially they weren't going to shut down the government.
Yes.
But then they've changed their mind.
Yes.
Now, the shut down the government, you got a quote we want to play or something?
Also, Senator Angus King, he's an independent of Maine. He also is voting with the Republicans.
Angus?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Good friend?
Is he a cattle farmer? See what I did there?
Yes.
Yes.
But I think I agree with you, Tim. I don't think this will last long. We have an election next year.
Yeah.
People have long memories, and I think the Fox and Friends were mentioning several other Democrats that will likely last a few days. One Republican did vote against this, joined the Democrats, and that's Rand Paul from Kentucky.
Yeah, he doesn't do continuing resolutions, I don't think, if that's what they call it. He's been that way forever, if I can remember right.
He and
Rand
his
Paul.
dad, Ron Paul, they're serious constitutionalists. Ron Paul, his dad, and then Senator Rand Paul, they know that the way Congress does things, this is both parties, is not the way they're supposed to be doing it. They're supposed to be, voting. We've said on this show before, you ought to have a transportation bill.
Yep.
And you don't stuff it with pork from all these local districts and states that have nothing to do with transportation. If it's a transportation bill, if it's a defense bill, if it's an education bill, whatever, it should deal with that topic, and it should be up and down votes.
Mm-hmm.
But you have these huge omnibus bills, and everybody says, well, you got to vote for it or you'll shut down the government.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is ridiculous to do business this way.
All right, you're listening to today's issues. Enough federal government shutdown talk here?
Yeah.
Anybody else got anything you want to get off their chest on this? Huh?
Nope.
Okay. All right, next story.
All right, Turning Point USA last night held their first large gathering in Utah since the assassination of their founder, Charlie Kirk. And it was a big one. This one took place at Utah State University in Logan, which is about 2 hours north of Utah Valley University, where Kirk was killed on September the 10th. And last night, if there's any indication that Turning Point USA is going to survive this, they had over 6,000 people at this gathering last night. Want to play a little montage of some of those who attended this big event last night in Utah. Cut number 6.
I'm not here to eulogize Charlie Kirk. I am here to pass the torch on to every single one of you.
Charlie was such a good friend, so inspirational. It's so exhilarating to see so many people here. Just grab hold of that mantle and keep going. Don't ever slow down.
Evil thought that it could silence him, but evil forgot something. Martyrs don't disappear, they multiply.
This was more than just an attack on Charlie Kirk. This was an attack on free speech. It was an attack on America. It was an attack on American ideals. It was treasonous.
Charlie's answer to that was, be courageous, live a life of value and meaning, and do something meaningful with your life, because life is bigger than you.
All right, there you have it. Very strong, emotional speeches.
Was that at the same university he was killed at?
No, sir. This
Okay.
this took place at Utah State University in Logan.
Okay.
And we understand there was a lot of extra security.
Yeah, going forward, that's just going to have to be a requirement from now on. The left is increasingly unhinged, and you can't. You used to be able to trust people to do the right thing. Okay, maybe you might have some shouting matches.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. But you didn't have to worry about snipers killing people from the rooftops.
Or not just snipers, but people with guns shooting people as well. So, the ones I think about are the trans activists that went into the Christian schools in the last 2 years.
Yeah, Nashville and Minneapolis.
Right.
Yeah. Listen, we've all heard anecdotally about how Charlie Kirk's assassination has really touched a nerve, especially among a lot of young people. I've seen things on X, other areas in social media. They seem legitimate to me. I don't think these people are acting. They seem emotional, and they are. A lot of people, I still see, like, for example, on Facebook and X, people posting clips of Charlie Kirk interacting with people on college campuses. As young people get interested in who Charlie Kirk was and what he did, his common sense and oftentimes biblically based approach to certain issues is going to continue to get out there and influence people. So it just seems like God is bringing some good out of a very terrible situation.
When was that event?
Last night.
Okay, because I thought they also had one at Ole Miss.
Yeah, this was the first event back in Utah since the assassination took place.
Yeah, because there's Turning Point chapters all over the country, and there was a spike after the assassination in people trying to get new charters for their schools to be a part under the Turning Point USA umbrella.
Oh, I think, what was it, 60,000 applications for charters?
Yeah.
All right, you're listening to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Tim, Ed, Wesley, and Fred. Next story, Fred.
Well, one of the things that President Trump promised during the election campaign last year is that if he was reelected, one of his major priorities was to bring down the price of prescription drugs.
And bring down Democrats.
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to do both.
Yes.
Sorry.
Doing a pretty good job of it.
Sorry to interrupt there.
Yeah, but just as an example that was given yesterday, people in other countries were paying far, far, far less for a particular drug than what Americans had to pay for a prescription drug. And so the announcement yesterday at the White House included the CEO of Pfizer. And basically, they've come to an agreement, the Trump administration with Pfizer at least now, and I think they're working on similar agreements with other prescription drug manufacturers, that they're going to come up with a price balance. In other words, some of the other countries that were paying, let's say, $10 for 30 pills may now have to pay $15. But it's going to come down drastically here in the United States. Pfizer also, as part of this announcement, said they're going to spend $70 billion here in the U.S. manufacturing, basically building plants, so that these prescription drugs, as we have talked about before, instead of being manufactured in some country elsewhere in the world, will now be manufactured here. So it's seen as another big win for President Trump.
Now, my understanding was that a lot of these companies, these pharmaceutical companies, were charging Americans more for the same drugs that they were charging far less in places like Europe. Okay, was that because of insurance companies here actually footing the bill for it? What was their reason for
that would be part of the ingredient, but also I think part of the conversation had to do with the price of research and development. That and I think the Trump administration was saying that why should Americans bear the cost of, and it's very costly when you're trying to develop drugs for various diseases, that it seemed the American taxpayers were paying far more for that reason. So I don't know whether moving the manufacturing here, there's going to be probably some special parts of this deal behind the scenes that we don't know yet. By moving that here, that some of the that cost will be absorbed.
It just seems bizarre to me that Americans, and I think everybody, this should be a bipartisan thing. Okay? It seems absurd to me that Americans are paying sometimes thousands of dollars a month for a drug that they're paying $25 for in Sweden.
Absolutely.
Same company.
Absolutely.
It's wrong.
It is. It is wrong.
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 Okay.
So this is going to happen across the board, or is this just Pfizer?
This is just Pfizer now, but they are, my understanding from the news conference yesterday, they're working on, I guess it's Eli Lilly, other manufacturers of prescription drugs. They're trying to work a similar deal out with them.
Well, Pfizer, they made enough money during COVID to carry them on for another century or so, didn't they?
Yeah, they did well.
Am I right?
I don't
with all the shots that were mandated.
I don't think the CEO had trouble paying his mortgage like he liked to say that.
No. All right, we're going to take a short time out right here. Abraham Hamilton III will be with us when we get back from the break. Maybe you heard about this, but in Iowa, in Des Moines, they're going to have a new secretary of
superintendent.
They're going to have a new superintendent of schools there in Des Moines because we'll tell you about the fellow that's
here that's not supposed to be here.
Yeah, he's been canned.
By the way, Red Sox beat the Yankees last night.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We'll be back in a minute.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildmon.
Some years ago, a preacher was sitting alone in his study late at night. He was desperately worried about a very difficult problem. The problem was of great concern to the preacher. As he sat worrying about the problem, he said something happened to him that's worth passing on. Along about midnight, God came to me and said, "Quayle, you go to bed. I'll sit up the rest of the night." So Bishop Quayle took God at his word and went to bed. And indeed, God did sit up the rest of that night. Worry has never helped a single person. It's hurt many. One man remarked once that he'd worried about a lot of things in his life, and that most of them never came to pass. All his worrying was wasted. Now, there's a difference between worry and concern. We are to be concerned, to care. But worry is undue and unnecessary mental torture, and it taxes our mental health. Maybe God is trying to say something to us by leaving the word completely out of his book. Somewhere along life's way, it's of great advantage to us to turn some of life's problems over to the Creator. It's too difficult a road to try to travel all alone. Life hands out some pretty big burdens, and too many of them can weight us down. The Galilean gave an invitation once, which some of us should take advantage of. "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden light." There are some things in life which we need to learn to turn over to the Maker of life. For all our worrying will not help matters one iota, but worry will sap our strength and deform our personality. Worry, negative thinking, has nothing of help to give us. Most of us are weighted down pretty often by some burden. Life has its own special way of handing out to each of us some pretty tough loads. Life's not easy. It was not intended to be, but neither was it intended that we worry. Our God has promised to us that He'll give us rest. It seems not only foolish, but also blasphemy to refuse His promise. Yet we worry over things which have already happened, or things over which we have absolutely no control, or things that could happen in the future. Not only that, but some of us worry over things that will never happen. There comes a time in our concern, often in the midnight of our concern, when we need to turn things over to God. They're too big for us. Then we can go to bed and let God sit up the rest of the night. You can be certain of one thing. He will.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildmon, a production of the American Family Association.
Have no fear of them, nor be troubled, but in your hearts honor Christ the Lord as holy, always being prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks you for a reason for the hope that is in you. Yet do it with gentleness and respect, having a good conscience, so that when you are slandered, those who revile your good behavior in Christ may be put to shame. 1 Peter 3:14 through 16.
American Family Radio. This is Today's Issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of Today's Issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of Today's Issues.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. I'm Tim with Ed, Wesley, and Fred. And we thank you for listening to AFR. Well, joining us now is our colleague and good friend, Abraham Hamilton III. Abe's heard each afternoon, 5 to 6 o'clock Central Time on the American Family Radio Network with the Hamilton Corner. That's the name of his show. Join him each weekday afternoon. So, Abe, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Fred, you want to set this story up for Abe?
Yeah. There is a man by the name of Ian Roberts. He came here several years ago, my understanding, on a student visa, which usually runs out about 8 months later. But he's stayed around in the country. He's done well. Back a few years ago, the Des Moines School District hired him to be head of that school. It's not a small school district, 30,000 students and nearly 5,000 employees. And he got a job right at the top. And the Des Moines School Board chair, her name is Jackie Norris, who, by the way, is running for a Senate seat there. She says it's not our fault that we hired this illegal alien, cut number 15.
The board operates in good faith in partnership with the search firm that we used. And so a search firm is hired, very typical in a process. The board contracts with a search firm, and the search firm is given a set of parameters for what we're looking for in a superintendent. We are operating on the information that was given to us, and there was nothing in the information that was given to us to allude to any question about his citizenship. We can tell you that on his I-9, he stated he was a citizen, and he provided 2 forms of verification, a driver's license and a social security card.
And I guess that was enough for the Des Moines School Board, and they hired him. He has been paid several $100,000, I understand. But immigration finally caught up with him in recent days.
$230,000 a year annually.
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
Mm-hmm.
ICE recently caught up with him, and they chased him down in a car, and there was a weapon in the car and $3,000. So
he got out and ran from the cops
and
too.
ran from them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so now he is facing deportation, and Des Moines, as I say, is trying to explain to the public how they got this so wrong.
Abe's laughing. Did you hear him? Why are you laughing, Abe? It's a serious news story.
It is a serious news story. I'm laughing because if you were an illegal alien, why wouldn't you come to America? I mean, you can become the superintendent of a large school district. You can make, approach
the American dream
a year. I mean, you want a dream? I mean, man. I mean, Peter Pan's got nothing on this dream. I mean, this is absurd.
I know.
And unconscionable. And it is an indictment on our nation, and particularly here, the Democrat Party, because literally yesterday I played on my show audio from Chuck Schumer from 1996, where the Democrats used to decry illegal immigration. Biden used to decry illegal immigration. But in the clip I played of Schumer, he specifically said, guys, the reason why we keep having an illegal immigration problem is because we keep giving incentives for illegal aliens to come here.
Yeah.
So to have this guy, we need to find out why he's an illegal alien. How does he have a gun? The law prohibits illegal alien from purchasing firearms.
Yeah.
$3,000 in cash. And here's a big one. I wonder what the curriculum is in Iowa. It's particularly the Des Moines School District concerning things like, open borders. You think their curriculum would oppose the violation of our federal law concerning immigration if the superintendent of the school district is himself an illegal immigrant? It is a sad state of affairs. And last thing I'll say about this, that if we had a prior administration that was serious about illegal immigration, we could have easily rooted this stuff out, because all it took, as President Trump said in his first joint address to the Congress, that it seems that we didn't have to change immigration laws. We just needed a new president to enforce our immigration laws. And that seems to be borne out by the facts that we're seeing play out before our very eyes.
Now, this is Dr. Ian Roberts. Is that correct, Doctor?
Yeah, we're not sure about it, whether it's an earned PhD.
Oh, I know the answer.
I got an idea, just like he has his verified citizenship.
That's right. So he's been calling himself a doctor, but he never finished his doctorate degree, nor did he ever get given a doctor's degree.
You know who looks like fools is the Des Moines School Board.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. Come on, people.
Yeah. And Jackie Norris, who heads that, wants to be a U.S. Senator.
She's the chairman of the school board?
Yes.
Well, now, let me ask you
Not
guys.
a good look.
Let me just ask you a question, okay? How, and I don't know, I seriously don't know the answer to this. How frequently is the process like the one that took place here in Iowa, where they use outside firms? I used to call them headhunters.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that seems like lots of corporations would go that route, and lots of school districts would go that route. Anybody know the answer to that?
First of all, I don't think you're allowed to use headhunters anymore. I think
it offends headhunters around the world.
It's a stereotype from like Tarzan movies or something from way back. So don't. Yeah,
well, not literal.
You need to be sensitive about that.
Not
Listen, this
headhunters.
gentleman here, Superintendent Ian Roberts. I'm sure he's a nice guy. As I always say, I'm sure he's a nice guy. If you were to play cards with him or something like that, but he lied. He lied and said he was a citizen. Who was the school board lady we just heard?
Jackie Norris.
Okay, Jackie Norris.
She's chair.
U.S. Senate candidate.
U.S. Senate. She sounds. That's sad. What she did right there. Well, he had his driver's license and his social security number. How are we to know he's not a? You know what I'm saying? I just now. This is a ridiculous, and this fella, he's going to be deported. If not, well, first of all, he's going to have to face charges, I guess.
Yes.
What did he do illegal here besides
being in the
besides
having a handgun?
Well,
he was driving a government car, school board car, with a weapon.
With a gun?
Yes.
Which even if you legally own a weapon in Illinois, in Des Moines, you're not supposed to
carry it in a government car.
in a government car.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he runs from them physically, gets out and runs from them, right? Yeah.
Drove first, and then got out and ran physically.
Yeah. He's from Guyana.
Guyana.
And Guyana, that's a country in Africa, true?
Yes.
Okay.
And according to his immigration paperwork, this is the paperwork he filed. He also purportedly has 6 children by 5 different women.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
That is why I was shaking my head when you said.
Okay, he's a nice guy.
We can assume he may be a nice guy to play cards.
You were
with.
shaking your
I
head.
think
No,
this
he's
is
not.
South America, I think.
Guyana? You better check
country on the
check
northern coast of South America that identifies with the Caribbean. Is that
Guys, y'all are about to get real distracted on the point here. This is
are
neither here nor there.
All right.
Well,
you can trust me.
guy's
I
a
just
criminal.
had surgery.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's extremely rare that I get my geography wrong.
Okay.
And Ed, thank you for pointing that out to the world. I don't think anybody would have known any different because Abe confirmed me.
There was somebody screaming at the radio.
Yeah, that Guyana. There is a country in Africa with a similar name, I think. Spelled. Anyway, that's not the point, is what it says. The point is this fella was busted, and now he's in trouble, and the school board in Des Moines, Iowa looks.
And can I make a prediction? I think Jackie Norris will not be elected.
Not be elected, yeah.
She put out a note the other day saying, "I'm having trouble raising money."
Did she really?
I'm having trouble.
Well, this fella here, he's got $3,000 now that he doesn't know what to do with. He had in his pocket so he could contribute to her campaign, right?
And it's tax deductible, isn't it?
All right, one other question we had for you, Brother Abe. You still there?
I'm still here.
Thanks for supporting me on Ghana being in Africa. I know what Abe did right there. He just trusted me because I usually get geography right. So
I had to look it up. So
all right, listen. On a more serious note, well, that's a serious story. Your hometown and home state. You're from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Yes.
You spent a lot of time in Houston, Texas. After we know the story after the hurricane Katrina. But now the governor there, Landry, has invited or is welcoming National Guardsmen to help in New Orleans in the same way they've helped in Washington, D.C. If I got that right?
Yeah, you do have it right. Governor Landry in Louisiana has invited President Trump to provide support for the law enforcement initiatives there. And in this, once again, it all depends on the details. In this instance, you have the governor inviting the National Guard, similar to what happened in Memphis The guardsmen who were there all came from Tennessee, and in Tennessee, it only ended up being about 150 guardsmen, and they weren't carrying weapons. They weren't doing law enforcement, things of that nature. So it depends on what exactly they will be doing. But this is an instance where the governor is welcoming them, and with the collaboration between the governor and the president, you have a more clearly lawful basis for this type of activity.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, because I don't, as a conservative, I know you feel this way too, Abe, too. The idea of using federal troops inside our country, okay, that's not constitutional, I don't think. I'm talking about,
and I would,
and you'd oppose that, right? Huh?
Yes, I would oppose that.
Yeah, and I would too, and I think that
for law enforcement purposes.
Yeah, for law enforcement purposes.
Yes, not for national emergency, not for natural disasters, things
Exactly.
of that nature, or somebody invading us or something like that, but just for regular law enforcement, police work. Using federal troops is not constitutional. But what President Trump is talking about here, if he's invited in by a governor of a state to do a specific thing with troops, then it would be constitutional under those circumstances?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and again, it depends on what they're doing specifically. You know? Yes.
Okay. And if I'm a National Guardsman, you're telling me go to downtown New Orleans, and by the way, we're not going to give you a weapon. You just need to hand out candy to the children, hope for the best. What are you sending the National Guard without any protection for themselves? Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, I think the intent is to suppress crime by having
wrestling.
No, it's just suppress it by having. In other words, it has been demonstrated that the more patrolling police do in neighborhoods, it does suppress crime, because criminals see the law and they're less likely to commit some sort of crime. I'm just guessing. I'll let Abe toss in here. I'm just guessing having the National Guard out on the street or performing some functions in assistance of the regular law enforcement is meant to be a show of force and to suppress crime. Is that what this is?
Yes, that's what Governor Landry has discussed. Having the National Guardsmen to support local law enforcement in various capacities would allow more visible presence of law enforcement. Most likely, the local law enforcement will be more visible because you have some of the administrative stuff and other things being done by the National Guardsmen. And so particularly in high crime areas, they want a more visible show of law enforcement presence in those areas in an effort to suppress the amount of criminal activity.
Wesley?
I was going to ask a different legal question here on a similar topic. So what about, you had the invasion during Biden's term of people coming across the southern border. So you got ICE doing its job. What role can the National Guard or President Trump play using the National Guard to help ICE do their job?
Well, that's something that could be done, but that doesn't seem to be a part of what the Governor Landry and President
That's
Trump
right. Yeah.
have
I should have clarified my question. Mine's more of a hypothetical of a potential use of how they could or couldn't be used in that situation.
Yeah, that would be an entirely different conversation, and you would have some type of official transaction that would take place to have a kind of a deputizing of National Guardsmen for border and customs enforcement functions. But that seems to be beyond the scope of what's being discussed here with New Orleans in particular.
All right.
Can I just?
Yeah, you can.
Let me just toss something. Abe, you had no idea this is coming. I'm sure you've talked about this, though. I was on our very fine American Family News website, folks. Go to afn.net. Great stories there covering the kinds of news that we are discussing. So let me toss a quick question to you in terms of constitutionality about, because here's the article that I'm looking at on American Family News. U.S. military officials discuss various options for dealing with Venezuelan drug traffickers. Now, it has been reported that the U.S. military has destroyed boats, at least on 2 occasions, maybe more, coming from Venezuela that the Trump administration says were being, these boats are driven by known drug traffickers. There were drugs on board, and so we blew them up. Okay, I'm asking what
that's cogent legal analysis.
Yeah, I just had surgery. Okay, so I may be talking out of my head a little bit here. I may still have some of the anesthesia in my body.
You can use that for a few more days, but eventually,
I gotta lose that. Well, what do you think? What do you think of this? That what the Trump administration is doing? We fired upon and blew up boats.
Yeah, I would need to know more about what evidence they had prior to, what's the legal authorization they had concerning that, where were the boats located. I'm familiar with one of those stories. I'm not familiar with 2 or 3 of them. On one, the one I'm familiar with is that the U.S. was made aware of this transaction in coordination with international partners to identify this particular boat. They identified with cogent evidence that it was heading for the United States of America. So I just would need more information to provide more accurate, specific assessment of it. But as a general idea, I'm not in favor of the United States government unilaterally just blowing up boats in waters all over the world. That's not necessarily something that I would be like, well, yeah, happy that it's being done. That being said, if we have cogent evidence that shows that these are people that are bringing this stuff to our country, then I'm not crying any tears, shedding any tears for the drug dealers.
Okay.
Okay, so I got one other question.
Okay.
I thought he was about to leave. But now we got one more question, but he's used to that, being in courtroom.
Yes.
One more question, Counselor. So, all right, President Trump spoke to the generals and other, I guess, top military brass, right, Fred?
That is correct.
And you said it wasn't a stellar speech, right, Fred?
Compared to Pete Hegseth.
Huh?
Pete Hegseth was lively and alert.
Right. President Trump was not his usual self.
No, sir.
It wasn't a MAGA crowd, though.
No.
So, I mean, it was military.
Yep.
And these people are seared, and they're not used to. They don't high five.
They don't clown around, right?
No, they don't. Yeah, they don't.
Tim, our military brass doesn't want to make America great.
No, well, maybe they do. I hope they do. But I'm just saying.
So do I.
These aren't people that.
President Trump can't draw energy like he does from a MAGA crowd.
Yeah,
he draws energy
from a room full of top military brass.
Right.
No nonsense.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. But President Trump said this. He said, this is according to Axios, which is a liberal publication. This concerned me a little bit when I read him say things like this, and I hope that he's just. I don't know what word you would use. I don't like him trolling generals, but anyway, President Trump told the nation's top military officials Tuesday troops should use, quote, dangerous American cities as training grounds, end quote. What in the world does that mean?
Yeah.
He shouldn't have said that, should he?
No,
yeah,
he should not have.
Because that gives. Watch this pun. That gives
ammunition
to his enemies.
Yeah.
Because when they say he's an authoritarian, and he wants to. Anyway, I hope that he stops and dials this back. I'm talking about this whole sending National Guardsmen out all over the place.
Well, they would have to stop inviting them, you mean?
Well, he's talking about sending them into Chicago anyway. He's saying they got a terrible, incompetent. He said it's a big city. Chicago is big city with an incompetent governor. I hope he knows that it's the mayor. That incompetent governor is not the mayor of the city. Anyway,
right.
I think he knows that. But the point is that I just hope he dials back this talk because I don't agree with this stuff. He shouldn't send troops. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with you. It creates fodder for his opponents. It creates difficulty for his supporters because you end up defending the indefensible, which you can't defend it. It's just that it's a problematic statement, and it does create concerns. Like, does he really think that's a passable possibility?
Well, all right. Thank you, Abe. We appreciate it very much. And we, what are you going to cover this afternoon on the Hamilton Corner?
Well, can I say one last thing about our non-friend Ian Roberts from Des Moines, Iowa?
Des Moines, Iowa, yeah.
He in addition to being an illegal alien hired by the Des Moines School Board, he registered to vote. He voted in Iowa and outside of Iowa. He had a deportation removal order already in place, and nevertheless was hired to be the superintendent of Des Moines, Iowa School.
Nice guy to play cards with.
Yeah, well, thank you, Westy. I accept that. I accept that dig right directly at me. Listen,
no eye contact.
This guy here. So you got it. So when people say these illegal aliens are going to find a way to vote, and the left wingers say no, they can't vote. They have to be citizens. Well, I don't even know. The left wingers say we don't care. Let them all vote. So I guess some people who would say we're making too much of the illegal immigrant problem.
They're working
in America.
hard. They're
but no voting, absolutely not. You're not a citizen. You shouldn't be allowed to vote. And this guy proved that you could get on the rolls and you could vote even not being a citizen.
Right. You vote. There's a bunch of stuff here, but just to rehash too, that really big to me is that he voted illegally and he possessed a firearm illegally.
Right.
So you can have all the rules on the books for gun control, but this guy has an illegal gun.
Right. And he should have obeyed the gun control.
That's right.
Rules. He should have.
I think most criminals do follow the gun. Oh no, that's right. They do.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Abe. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
I got some also very important news.
Okay. Is it breaking?
It's breaking.
Chris Woodward breaks news.
I'm gonna break this news.
Okay, you break this news.
The Yankees are the first team in the Major League history postseason to have bases loaded with nobody out in the bottom of the ninth and not score a run and lose the game.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me give you a little history there.
Yeah.
There's nobody except Yankee fans who feel sorry for them. Okay, nobody.
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched that game, and now we had our best reliever.
It's a playoffs. It's baseball playoffs.
First
right?
game of the playoffs, wild card game, and we had our best pitcher, and he loaded the bases, no outs. And then I think he got one pop up and then struck out the next two batters.
Look at that.
That is why you watch baseball.
Mm-hmm.
It was great.
I watched. We were eating dinner last night, and we were on the TV on the restaurant was the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Cincinnati Reds. And this was the first time they had said the Cincinnati Reds made the playoffs since 2013.
I know that's.
And Wesley doesn't remember this, but the three of us here are old enough to remember the Big Red Machine from the 70s. I mean, they have a history there in Cincinnati of some of the greatest baseball teams in history in the 70s.
Big Red Machine.
But anyway, there was this fellow on there pitching for the Cincinnati. Is that right?
Cincinnati Reds.
The Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah.
And he was throwing 100 miles an hour every single pitch.
How do you hit that?
Every single pitch, 100 miles an hour.
Didn't you tell me that he got 3 home runs hit off him?
He did.
Pitcher?
He did. That just goes to show you how elite these the hand-eye coordination is of these top baseball hitters. They were hitting home runs off this guy.
When was this?
But all you got to do really is stick the bat out there.
I'm trying to find the player.
I don't know his name.
Well, there's a Hunter Green. He was. What day was this?
Last night.
Oh, it was Hunter Green then. He's 6'5", 240.
Yes, he was a hoss.
Mm-hmm.
And he was humming it 100 miles an hour. But remember this. Back in the day, there was a fella named Nolan Ryan.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And he was the bionic man. And he could throw. He was like 5'11", 170 pounds.
And threw for decades.
100 miles an hour, 101, 102, 103. For 9 innings.
Yes.
There was no
complete games.
Nobody relieved him.
There was no relief, setup, or closure.
No, he was the starter, reliever, and
setup,
closer. He pitched 9 innings. Nolan Ryan, legendary pitcher there. We'll be back momentarily. Stay with us.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
How do you choose to stay informed? Sure, you can find all kinds of sources for information and commentary, but when you want them from a Christian perspective, turn to The Stand. Whether you choose to read the online blog or get the print version delivered to your mailbox, you can rest assured you'll receive factual news and biblically sound commentary. Find out more today at afa.net/The Stand.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. The federal government has officially entered a shutdown after Democrats and Republicans failed to reach an agreement to keep the government funded. An earlier attempt by Senate Republicans to pass a short-term funding bill was sunk by Democrats. Democrats have been pushing for the funding bill to extend Obamacare subsidies that are set to expire at the end of this year. Vice President J.D. Vance puts the blame on one person for shutting down the government.
This is basically Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer, he's worried he's going to get a primary challenge from AOC, and so he's shutting down the people's government to give in to sort of the left-wing coalition and their party, and it's craziness, and people are going to suffer because of it.
Democrats are responsible for this shutdown, even though just last December they were saying this.
It is not normal to shut down the government when we don't get what we want.
If the government shuts down, it will be average Americans who suffer most. A government shutdown means seniors who rely on Social Security could be thrown into chaos.
Families will be hurt. Farmers will be hurt.
It's the service members who will work without a paycheck. It's the firefighters who will be furloughed.
This shutdown, you know who's going to feel the pain? You know who it hurts? You. Everyday people and the most vulnerable. Seniors, veterans, working families, hungry kids, y'all.
Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry is calling for the National Guard to be deployed to his state to help fight rising crime. Lydia Hu explains.
This is Republican Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry asking the Pentagon to send as many as 1,000 National Guard troops to fight crime in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Shreveport. In a letter to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Landry is saying crime and the shortages of local police are the problem. So he wants troops in place through September of next year. His request is coming after President Trump suggested deploying federal forces to New Orleans. Democratic leaders in other states, they're criticizing this move. We've heard that from Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. He's accusing the White House of using federal troops to intimidate opponents and not fight crime. But the Pentagon has not said yet whether and when they're going to deploy to Louisiana.
Thousands of people packing an arena on the campus of Utah State University for Turning Point USA's first event in the state since the assassination of founder Charlie Kirk. Matt Finn reports from Spanish Fork, Utah.
Shortly after Charlie was assassinated here in Utah, his widow, Erica, said that Charlie's death was not going to stop the on-campus debate and dialogue. And last night, the Turning Point Tour returned here to Utah for the first time. Thousands of people lined up hours before the event began inside the arena at Utah State University, north of where Charlie was shot. Every attendee greeted with security and going through metal detectors. Now, Charlie was supposed to be there last night for this stop of his American Comeback Tour that was planned months ago, but it's now called This is the Turning Point Tour. Some of his supporters say Charlie's death only expanded his reach, and they're happy Turning Point is proceeding with campus events.
Iowa is in the news after the federal government detained the superintendent of Des Moines schools for being in the country illegally. Chris Woodward spoke with an Iowan to see how folks in the state feel about the situation.
Ian Andre Roberts of Guyana is accused of trying to evade arrest. Authorities also found him in possession of a loaded handgun, $3,000 in cash, and a fixed-blade hunting knife. Jeff Stein, broadcaster and political analyst, said most of Iowa cannot understand how it got to this point.
There is a big difference between our few big cities, Des Moines, of course, the largest, and most of the areas of Iowa. You get places like Des Moines and Iowa City, and they start having protests because we should not throw an illegal alien out of the country. The rest of the state is scratching their head and wondering how he got hired to begin with. These school boards hire very expensive consulting firms to vet candidates. How did that fail? Was the board so eager to hire someone to check some boxes that they ignored the red flags. That's what the average Iowan is suspicious of in this rural versus urban split that keeps getting wider from a social and political standpoint.
Roberts resigned from the superintendent position on Tuesday. Prior to that, he'd been suspended without pay. I'm Chris Woodward.
For American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh.
Some Christians wonder if boycotting businesses is really biblical, and that's a fair question. Ed Vitagliano and M.D. Perkins address that subject in depth in the AFA Cultural Institute video, Stewardship in Action, The Power of the Boycott. They share the purpose of boycotts and show how they can impact the culture. We're giving that DVD to you free as our thanks for supporting AFA this month. Go to afa.net today for more details. afa.net.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildmon, president of the American Family Association.
Welcome back, everybody, to Trivia Friday. No, it's not. It's
not.
Wednesday.
We can do Trivia
Yes.
Friday, and I don't think anybody's going to complain from the listening audience.
We could, but it's Wacky Wednesday. So.
Yeah.
All right.
We did do the trivia I did do. You got that from the trivia statement I made of the Yankees. I'm trying to save you.
It was a momentary confusion there in my mind about what day it was.
Y'all could throw in a few more baseball trivia questions for Friday. That may.
I actually have one coming up for
got
Friday.
One coming up?
I had one this past Friday because the playoffs were starting.
Yeah.
All right.
Major League playoffs.
Those listening in, if you like baseball, you're going to want to tune in Friday.
Right.
Ed's question. All right. So you're listening to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Steve Paisley Jordahl went to the bench.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't send him to the bench. He went to the bench, and out comes. I'm doing a baseball metaphor.
I like it. I'm following one, tracking with you.
Chris Plainclothes Woodward.
Yes.
Comes in relief.
5 foot nothing, 100 nothing, but I got a lot of heart.
But you got a lot of heart.
Plain clothes. At first, I thought you were talking about like a undercover cop, but then I realized it was in reference to Steve Paisley Jordahl.
I couldn't be undercover. People would be like, "What's the short guy doing there?" Like, that's the thing that's always gotten me with James Comey. Comey obviously never did undercover stings because the guy's like 8 feet tall.
Yeah, he is 6'8". Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, Chris, good morning to you.
Yes, thank you very much.
What's your first story, Chris?
Well, we've got some sad news for the vegans out there. As the Daily Mail has reported, the vegan hype train may finally be over as its poster child admitted last night that it was nearly cooked. Beyond Meat, once worth $7.8 billion, is now almost worthless after shares plunged 37% following news the company is grappling with nearly $1 billion in debt. This is the same company out there that's been marketed, and I think even some fast food chains have agreed to sell their stuff at times. They were making fake burgers, and shockingly, red-blooded Americans are saying, I'm not going to eat that, and it's caused this company to go belly up.
I'm going to say I have some personal experience with the fake meat thing. Okay.
Oh, boy.
Now, last Monday, not 2 days ago, a week ago, I don't know if you guys know this, but I had surgery.
No, we did, yeah. No, we were aware of that. We actually prayed for you.
Well, you did. I know.
We did.
Thank you very much.
And that's not funny.
So, no, I know you did because my son mentioned we prayed for you.
We prayed for you.
It's my cataract surgery.
Yes.
After I got done, I told my wife, she said, because you have to fast because you're going to have anesthesia. And it's surgery, and if something goes wrong, you can't have stuff in your stomach. Mm-hmm. So I was hungry because this was in the afternoon. And she said, where do you want to go eat? And I said, let's just go across the street to Chili's. Okay? Now, this is – I like Chili's. I like Chili's. Yeah, you know what's coming.
Oh, no.
So I said, I'm looking at the menu, and I'm looking at the calories. And I said, I'm going to try the fake meat burger.
Is that what you called? Is that what it said on the menu?
No. It was a veggie burger. I forget what they call it.
Yeah, that's
plant-based, what they call it.
Yeah. Now, listen.
Plant-based burger.
Chili's has really good burgers.
Yeah, they do.
They have really good burgers. And this past Monday when I had the other eye done. Did I mention that I had surgery?
You did.
I had a regular.
We lifted you up in prayer, brother.
Remember, you can keep using that. You still got a couple days.
I got a
left.
couple days I can keep
How many
using.
fingers am I holding up?
You hold up 3.
Okay, good.
So the veggie burger.
You tried it willingly?
I willingly tried it.
I've had one before.
I willingly tried it.
Or with other burger options on the table?
Yes,
Oh,
other
boy.
burger options. I said, you
I
know
don't
what?
feel bad
I've
for what's
never
about to happen.
I've said I've never done this. I'm going to try that.
Okay.
And it wasn't bad, but it's not a hamburger. And they do their best to try to make it taste burger-ish.
Yeah.
But the texture isn't the same. There's no juice coming out of it. And it's just, after I got done, I said, well, I'm just never going to do that again.
Yeah.
Because what's the point of having something when you're eating it going, this is not what it's supposed to be taking the place of. This is a totally different food. And so I understand why this company's losing money. There's just no.
What's the name of the company again?
Beyond Meat.
Okay.
See, I'm looking at now. The Beyond Meat also has a plant-based steak.
Yeah, I'm just going.
Yeah,
by.
Did y'all hear that?
You're about to laugh out loud, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay, so
Plant-based
this
chicken.
was a big story in the news
Huge,
yesterday,
yes.
which is why I brought it up, because the company is well known, and this quote movement by vegans, right?
Right.
Okay, so I had a vegetarian is somebody who doesn't eat meat. True.
A vegetarian.
Yes.
They don't eat meat at all.
Right.
Right.
That is correct.
A vegan also.
And a vegan is they're a step beyond a vegetarian, right? These are hardcore.
No animal products.
Yes. No animal products. So that would be including milk or eggs or anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the difference between a vegetarian and a vegan again?
So vegetarian is they just don't eat meat.
Okay, I got you.
Vegan is no animal products at all. So no milk, no dairy, no cheese, no eggs.
What do they eat?
All vegetables.
Yes. All plant-based stuff.
All plant-based.
Well, part of the problem, I think, was
high protein.
Part of the problem, I think, with their products was the pricing, because Daily Mail points this out. It says for $8 to $10, shoppers could grab a package of 2 meatless patties.
Yes.
Now you can go to the hamburger store. You can go to the grocery store and get actual ground chuck or ground beef. You can get 4 to 6 patties for less than that amount.
Right.
And one of the fast food chains, I'm not going to say the name because I could be wrong here, but one of the fast food chains that had a deal with Beyond Meat or one of the vegan companies, their fake meat burger meal was more than the actual meat meal.
Yes.
Like, who's going to do that?
Yeah, that's a bump. Yeah.
And also, I think with this, if now we'll move on to the next story, but this company is going to go belly. They're going belly up.
Yes.
Because people aren't buying it for whatever reason.
Pork belly up.
Pork belly. Good one, Wesley.
You're welcome.
That's a good one. Fist pump. So the reason is, to me, you shouldn't try to sell something as an alternative. Okay, don't you agree?
Right there.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's it.
Just
That's
call
a good
it
point.
something else. Say we got vegan patties that we're
Straight up.
we're introducing to the world. So get your
They taste good.
Get your salsa chips and get you some vegan patties, and go to town.
Yeah,
you know.
Because in my head,
have an afternoon.
Have a good afternoon.
In my head, I was comparing.
Yeah,
while I was
yes, you
eating
were.
it.
That's the reason you were going like, is this going to taste like a hamburger?
Yes. And that's where they're making the mistake.
That's where we're making a mistake.
They should just say, "Listen, this is a."
And you bit into it, and what was your first your taste buds? What were they saying to you?
Well, I told my wife, I said, first of all, it's a good thing everything else around it tastes like what you get with a hamburger.
Right.
That helps. But this is not something I would ever choose to eat again as an alternative to hamburger. Now, by the way, this kind of company and this whole vegan push is also tied to the climate.
It is.
Crisis,
It's one of the
quote
reasons.
unquote climate crisis. They say that meat adds to the carbon footprint.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're demanding real hamburger, you're demanding that cattle farmers produce more cattle.
Mm-hmm.
But if you eat this alternative, then you save the environment, and nobody's buying that either.
No, and I can think of 3 words that fit what you just described. in terms of meat leading to the end of the world? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Partly because of the words "I don't care," I think are appropriate here because I'm not trading in. My life's too short. I'm not trading in
especially for you
big
and I.
fat juicy hamburger for a piece of ivy.
I know. I'm looking at Chris. He has stories prepared. He has sound bites.
I don't have any.
Oh yeah, no. I think this we don't go. We need to move on because
but I'm not going to let us.
Okay, yes,
I'm not going to let us.
I think we're all in
turkey bacon for the turkey bacon.
Turkey bacon, yeah.
I was
Just say I got a slab of turkey.
Yes, I know. Don't
call it
they
bacon.
try to fool you. Turkey bacon.
I'm not saying it's not good, but I'm saying that when you bite into turkey bacon,
it's not
bacon.
People who push turkey bacon want to live off the good name.
Yes.
Of bacon as we've always known it.
Yes.
And try to trick us into believing that turkey bacon is the same thing when it is not.
And bacon has earned its good name.
That's what I'm saying.
That's right. However long it's been
I
around.
couldn't have said it better myself.
It's
you can
earned
do
that
thick
good name.
cut turkey bacon.
All right.
You can do
Tomorrow we'll have Fred stay on and we'll debate Canadian bacon.
Canadian
Okay.
bacon. Well,
should actually, yes.
Canadian bacon is in the ballpark, but
that's just ham.
But barely. Okay, it may be on a pizza.
Yes.
All right, you're listening to today's issue. So this vegan company is going out of business because people aren't buying it, right?
Correct.
Is that basically what you're saying?
Very true.
Okay,
And let me just toss this one other thing. This is a serious
like a tossed
point.
salad.
There's no salad here. This is all meat.
Okay.
This is red meat.
You're not
for our
Kamala
listeners.
Harris. You're not
That's
giving
right.
us a word salad.
That's right.
Okay.
Let me tell you something else that's happened with the climate change, quote unquote, crisis is all this other stuff they've been telling you about. Okay, and like the solar panels, I read all kinds of people saying, man, the solar panel thing, what a disaster, my roof leaks, all that kind of thing. You can sell people on the front end, but once they get experience with what you're pushing, it had better work or you're going to go out of business because eventually the market takes over and people don't buy it.
That's why I don't think electric cars are going to be taken over for the gas-fueled automobile.
Mm-hmm.
It'll have its place. But it's not gonna take over 50%.
Yeah,
of,
right.
Of
You'll see commuters doing it if you live in like an urban setting and you're not going to drive very far to work. But I don't think you're going to see people in Montana driving an hour.
I tell you what, I was in a Tesla. I've been in a few Teslas as Lyft cars, like Ubers.
Yeah, right.
And those things, everyone I've been in do drive smooth. They are really nice cars. Teslas, I'm talking.
You got to provide something that people actually want.
Yeah.
And if it works, you'll find a part of the market for it.
Yeah. Next story, Chris.
Well, I've got a story about a couple of people who now have enough money they could be in the market for a lot of things. Divers become overnight millionaires after discovering trove of rare coins off Florida's Treasure Coast. On Tuesday, 1715 Fleet, Queen's Jewels LLC, the largest historic shipwreck salvage operation in Florida waters, announced the discovery of more than 1,000 silver coins and 5 gold coins recovered during their summer expeditions. The coins are believed to be from the infamous 1715 Fleet, a Spanish convoy wrecked by a hurricane while sailing from the New World to Spain. People died in that thing. But nonetheless, a couple of people went diving. They found these coins, or at least some of them, and they became overnight millionaires in a place called Treasure Coast.
What were their names? Got pictures of them on there?
Yes, we do. I'll post the picture here.
You want contact information too, Tim?
Yeah, I kind of know
Mother's maiden
when
name.
Will they be on their way to the store too?
Yeah, actually, the article here does not go into great detail, but it does include pictures of the coins the divers.
Do hear there are shipwrecks. Around, around the world, famous shipwrecks and the Caribbean. They had a lot of them, which carried gold, silver. And they went down, in the sea, and then they were trading between Europe and maybe not trading, but going between Europe and the Caribbean or South or Central America. And these guys, you know what? They probably got made fun of.
Yeah, because they've
back home.
tried.
Their dad probably told them to get a real job.
Right.
And now
like most dads
now
would do.
they call home and say, Dad, I want to play Toby Keith for you right here.
That's right.
How do you like me now?
Right. Yeah.
Well, talking about people making fun, I just recently invested in this company that's trying to find treasure on Oak Island. You guys ever?
Oh
heard
yeah,
of this?
yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they're gonna find buried treasure.
What a blessing that
What
place.
now?
has been to
I
people.
didn't.
Yes.
I didn't get a chance to invest in this. You didn't pass around the office.
I'm
It's
just
coming. They're going to text you here shortly.
Okay. Well,
Oak Island. You know, they have some show.
They do. The Curse of Oak Island.
Yeah. Where they're trying
I
to
missed
find
this
buried,
one. What
buried
is this, like Discovery
stuff,
Channel?
Nova Scotia, I think, or something. Canada.
That's where Fred's from.
Yeah. And it's on the island, and there's supposedly buried treasure.
Okay.
And there's a television series
Yeah.
where they're always digging in this hole and that hole. I was just joking because.
So they did these. How many of them? Two guys.
Team of divers.
Team of divers, and they hit the jackpot with gold in the Caribbean. Did it say where they found this?
Off Florida's Treasure Coast.
Anyway.
There is a quote in here from one of the people that were part of the expedition that says, this discovery is not only about the treasure itself, but the stories it tells.
Yeah.
That was after I think you overcame the emotion of, I'm now a millionaire. Because I don't know that would be my initial quote.
When you find this, you don't tell anybody.
That's true.
I bet they didn't tell anybody until they got back. And I don't know how do you cash in on that? Do you take it down to the pawn store?
I would not, because he's going to go, best I can give you is $25.
I'm not sure. That is actually a good question, Tim, a serious question.
Yeah.
Because you have to, did this belong to somebody? Is there someone else who might have a legal claim to it?
Mm-hmm.
Do you take it to the bank and put it in a safety deposit box? I'm sure you get a lawyer.
Yeah.
How do you, you know? And, all right, you're listening to TI here today.
Yes.
This
is your next story.
Well, one of the things I like to do in the morning is to look at things that happened on this day in history.
Mm-hmm.
And Britannica does a really good list of that every day, where they list out all kinds of things that happened on this day in history. And I bring this up because from time to time on the show, we talk about things that late-night TV hosts said or tried to joke about, and the fact that many of today's late-night TV hosts are nowhere near what they used to be when people like Johnny Carson began. Speaking of Johnny Carson, on this day in history in 1962, Johnny Carson began hosting The Tonight Show, and of course he became the king of late-night TV, credited with creating the standard format for TV talk shows. I kind of sort of remember Carson. I remember him signing off, and I remember Arsenio having Bill Clinton on to play the saxophone in 1992, but I have few memories of Johnny Carson. Is it true when somebody says, hey, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, these people are nothing like Johnny Carson was back in the day?
You mean to answer that?
Yes.
Because Wesley, you and Wesley don't remember Johnny. You've heard the name, but you don't remember Johnny Carson. And then Ed Johnny Carson, he was, an excellent late night talk show host because he kept it clean, but he was funny. When he talked politics, he wasn't mean spirited. He made fun of both sides when he did it, and he was a good conversationalist with the guests that he had on. Obviously, he had to be. That's what he was hired to do, and so he had a very friendly demeanor on the radio, on the air. I don't watch these guys that we're talking about here, but I do know. I've seen enough clips to know what's their shtick. Is that what
shtick?
What their shtick is? I'm talking about Kimmel and
Fallon and
what's the other guy? Colbert. Not so much Fallon as those other two, although I don't watch Jimmy Fallon either. But he's more fun-loving guy. These other two guys, they get up every morning and they're fire-breathing hate Trump and MAGA, and I can't wait to get to the studio so I can blast half of America.
Right.
And they don't like Christians or anyway, it is just mean-spirited quote comedy, and I think that's the big difference in that. Now, Johnny Carson had the advantage of having no competition, but But that's really not what we're here to talk about. We're talking about the quality of his.
Yeah.
Of his.
He was my first memories of Johnny Carson was when I would stay over I would spend a week at my cousin's house in Lowell, Massachusetts, and my aunt and uncle would let them stay up and watch Carson. It was during the summer.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I'd ever seen him. I couldn't stay up late. I wasn't allowed to stay up late.
That would have been 11:30 Eastern time, right?
It was Eastern time.
Because Central Time he was on at 10:30 p.m.
Yeah. So, but growing up, I liked him, and he was clean. He was entertaining. He was an excellent interviewer. He would let people talk.
Right.
And he would jumpstart people's careers. A lot of comedians.
Yes, people wanted to be on the Tonight Show.
Wanted to be on the Tonight Show. I will say this, that part of the problem part of the explanation for Colbert and Kimmel and those kind of guys is that the days of Johnny Carson, the Tonight Show on NBC, those days are over. 3 major networks. If you wanted to stay up late
in the 70s,
in the 70s, one of those networks might have a movie of the week. It was a late night movie.
Right.
I don't know what the other one would have, but there's Tonight Show.
An Elvis movie.
Yeah, probably an Elvis movie, something from the 50s. So a lot of people had no choice, and Johnny Carson was good.
Right.
Now people have thousands of choices. A plethora of choices. And you can, if you're Colbert, you can stay on the air for a while just pitching your shtick, doing your shtick with a portion of the audience.
Right.
But even that wasn't working for Kimmel and Colbert. They were just tanking. But
I think and Jay Leno carried on the Johnny Carson tradition. You guys know Jay Leno, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He carried on the Johnny Carson tradition. David Letterman would have been on about the same time. Letterman kind of started the anti.
He was a little more sarcastic.
Yeah,
but
he was a lefty.
Yeah,
you could tell. You couldn't tell with Jay Leno.
There is a place in comedy for criticizing and joking and making fun of both sides real close to equally. I think there's a place for that still.
Right.
But you're looking at a decade of the people you're mentioning of
Kimmel and Colbert and those guys.
You're looking at a decade of propaganda.
Yeah.
Right.
And lying.
Yeah, like I said, they get up every morning. That's all they can think about.
Yeah, lying versus being mocking are two different things.
Yeah. You can mock honestly.
You can.
Right.
I really do think you can.
And that's part of the job of a comedian.
Yep.
But if people get in their heads that you're picking sides and you're lying about my side and you're insulting
cut off half your audience.
You cut off half your audience. That you just
All right, we got about 2 minutes left here.
Yes.
Chris, can you tell us where the next treasure is off the Florida coast?
Don't tell them, just us.
Yeah, Ed and I, we're thinking about going down there.
I'll write it down for you.
Getting a
I
boat.
can see y'all die.
We'll check out a van after the show. And
Weston, why are you laughing?
I can see y'all die.
Your old man can dive.
I bet you can.
Ed and I, do we not look like we're ready for that?
Just let me.
Speedos and all.
Where's Ed? He's sleeping with the fishes. He thought he was looking for buried treasure.
Yeah.
Permanently.
I ain't putting on Speedos. But that's just,
On behalf of a
I have seen the European men,
I know.
and it's not a pretty sight.
Of a grateful.
I don't know why they think they put those on, look in the mirror, and go, I'm ready for the beach.
I don't even know why you put that thought in my head.
Yeah.
Oh, Speedos?
Yes.
Well, my brother, when he was a teenager, lost a bet, and he had to put one on.
Had to wear a Speedo.
Yeah, and we have pictures.
Yeah, we do.
And it he will do what we say do.
That's what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking.
All right, go ahead, Chris.
Yes.
You got 30 seconds.
I bring this up because it's now October. Many people are starting to gear up and think about things like fall
Pumpkin
festivals
spice, baby.
and candies. I've got a list here of one of many rankings out there. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups is the #1 candy this time of year, followed by peanut butter or peanut M&Ms, Kit Kat, and Snickers. Also on the list is Sour Patch Kids, Hershey's milk chocolate bars,
Sour
Milky Way.
Pouch Kid, that's a thing?
Yeah, Twix and Haribo
All right,
Gold
how
Bears.
about this? Okay, thumbs up or thumbs down around the table.
Yeah.
Candy corn and peanuts together.
I don't like candy corn at all.
I got Chris a thumbs down.
I'm gonna go
I do like that combination.
Talking about the things that look like corn kernels that are.
But with peanuts.
They lie to them. Nobody buys that. I don't know how they make money. It's a joke.
It's beyond candy.
Out of all those you mentioned, the peanut M&Ms are my favorite.
You're going to find out one day that candy corn was used for some type of recipe that has nothing to do with candy.
It was invented.
And it causes global warming.
Yeah, that's what you're going to find out.
We'll be back tomorrow.
Hey, my name is Wesley Wildmon.
And I'm Walker Wildmon.
And we're brothers, and our family have been leading tours to the land of the Bible for more than 30 years.
Coming up in March of 2026, we would love for you to join us for something very special, a Footsteps of Paul tour, a journey through Greece.
We'll walk exactly where the Apostle Paul walked, through Athens, ancient Corinth, Philippi, and Thessalonica.
You'll enjoy unforgettable experiences and meaningful fellowship with believers and with Wesley and Walker.
And we'll eat well, laugh a lot, and yes, eat well again. And most importantly, we will grow in our faith as the Bible comes alive before your eyes. You'll get to see the very things that we read about or that your pastor talks about in church.
The Footsteps of Paul tour is March 17th through the 24th, 2026.
Register today at wildmangroup.com.
That's wildmangroup.com. We can't wait to see you there.
I'm Riley Wildman. I'm the director of the AFA Foundation, and there's several tools that we have that you can give. There is a charitable gift annuity that we offer is one of our tools. There's a bequest as well as stock, and I'll kind of give you a brief overview for you